They called him the Ghetto Rev, a preacher who listens to rap music to stay connected to his kids. He walked onto the Deal or No Deal stage playing for $2 million, turned down $99,000 without blinking, and watched the offers climb into six figures. But when the board turned against him, the Reverend had to make a choice between his family's advice and his ministry's future. What he decided, and what was in his case, that's the sermon. William Ming has been married for 26 years to the same woman, and he's a preacher. But not just any preacher. His kids, the young people in his congregation, gave him a nickname that stuck: the Ghetto Reverend. See, William doesn't preach from an ivory tower.
I listen to rap music. Understand, I gotta listen to what they're listening to. No, I get it.
What they're watching, what they're talking about. He meets them where they are, and that's why they love him. He's the kind of pastor who shows up in sneakers and speaks in a language his community actually understands. When Howie asked what he'd do with the money, William didn't talk about a new house or a fancy car. He talked about his ministries, about the children he works with, about the programs that need funding and the lives that need support. This wasn't a man playing for himself. This was a man playing for his entire community. And Howie, never one to miss a beat.
If you win big tonight, hopefully you'll be able to improve the crib and buy some bling.
Bling?
But tonight wasn't a regular night. This was premiere week, and the top prize wasn't $1 million, it was $2 million. When Howie revealed the board, William's eyes lit up. $2 million at the top of that board. The Ghetto Rev was about to preach the biggest sermon of his life. 2,758, and the congregation was the entire nation watching at home. William picked his case with the energy of a man who'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. The game was on. 6 cases to open, and William's first round was practically a miracle. Case 1, Claudia opened it $5,000, off the low side of the board. Perfect. Case 16, Case 20, and the other picks all cleared small and mid-range amounts without touching anything significant. By the end of 6 cases, every single one of the top 8 amounts was still in play, including $1 million, including $2 million. The board was absolutely loaded, and the Ghetto Rev hadn't lost a single major number. Howie was impressed. The models were impressed. Even the banker, who never compliments anyone, seemed to acknowledge the quality of the round through his offer. $26,000. It was a strong first offer, reflecting the fact that the board was nearly untouched. But William looked at that $2 million still shining at the top of the board and shook his head. $26,000 wasn't going to fund the ministries he had in mind, not even close. No deal. The congregation was fired up. 5 more cases to open, and the blessings kept coming. Case 8 opened first. Lauren held it, and the amount was tiny, not even worth mentioning. Perfect start to the round. The next case was just as kind, and the next, and the next. $10,000 came off at one point a pittance on a $2 million board. Case after case, small numbers left the board, while the big money stayed untouched. Through 11 total cases, William Ming had kept every single major amount on the board. Every single one, including the $1 million and the $2 million. That is extraordinary. Borderline miraculous if you're a preacher who believes in miracles. Most contestants lose at least 1 or 2 big amounts by the end of the second round. William hadn't lost any. The board was still glowing from top to bottom with serious money, and the banker was starting to realize that this reverend was playing a game that was blessed by forces beyond his control. The second offer landed at $99,000, just shy of 6 figures. A number that would make most people's heads spin. William's supporters were introduced to the audience.
You are?
My name is Belinda. I am his niece, and I am his biggest cheerleader, Belinda with the big mouth. And I'm his
And you are?
I'm his daughter, Quita. Daddy, we got faith.
I'm Rhonda, Bill's wife.
Oh, the love of his life.
Yes, I am.
His family, the people who had been sitting in his congregation for years, hearing his sermons week after week, watching him pour everything he had into the community they shared, they looked at $99,000.
That's a lot of money. But you just don't know what we can do with that $2 million.
The implication was undeniable. Why settle for $99,000 when the promised land might be 1 case away? William looked at the board one more time. Every major number was staring right back at him, practically daring him to keep going. He thought about the ministries that needed funding, the youth programs that needed equipment, the children who were counting on him to bring something home that could actually make a difference. And he looked at Howie. The congregation was on their feet, and this is where the game started testing the Reverend's faith in ways he never anticipated. 4 cases to open in the next round, and the big amounts finally started falling. Mid-range amounts left the board first, but then came the harder hits. One of the major amounts disappeared from the board. The crowd reacted with a groan. Then another significant number followed it off. The board that had been loaded with potential was now showing real, undeniable damage. The golden age of William's game was over. The offers reflected the changing landscape. They climbed past $100,000 at one point, reaching as high as $132,000 during the middle rounds. 6-figure territory. The kind of money that would have funded every ministry program William had been dreaming about. But the Ghetto Rev kept saying no deal, round after round, still chasing the 7-figure amounts that were slowly, painfully disappearing from the board one by one. And then the worst happened. The $2 million was eliminated. The crown jewel of this Premier Week game, the number that had drawn William into this fight in the first place, was sitting in someone else's case. The dream of a $2 million payday evaporated in a single case opening. Shortly after, the $1 million followed it off the board. Both 7-figure amounts were gone. The ceiling of the game had collapsed from $2 million all the way down to a couple $100,000. The fall was dramatic, it was painful, and the offers reflected it immediately. The banker's numbers started sliding downward like a stock market crash, and the mood in the studio shifted from celebration to genuine concern for the Reverend's game. Think about this for a second. William had $99,000 on the table when every major amount was still in play. No deal.
No deal. No deal.
2 significant amounts remained in play, $75,000 and $200,000. Everything else on the board was tiny. William had a 50-50 shot at having at least $75,000 in his case. The math was simple, but the emotions were anything but. The banker made what would be the final offer of William Ming's game.
$56,000 for 1 case.
Not a bad number, not a great number, but a real number, sitting right there on the table, waiting for a decision. And here's where something remarkable happened, something that revealed exactly who William Ming is as a person. His family, the wife of 26 years, the loved ones who had been riding with him through every round, every decision, every heartbreak, told him no deal. They believed in the $200,000. They believed the Ghetto Rev had one more miracle left in his pocket. They were ready to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep saying no deal until the very last case. But William Ming wasn't listening to his family this time. He was listening to something deeper, something that had been guiding him long before he ever stepped foot on a game show stage. He said,
Well, Howie, I know my family has my best interests at heart. But this money could help with some of the ministries that I work with and start helping some of the children and things of that nature. So with that, Howie, I'm going to have to say deal.
Deal.
The Reverend had made his choice. Not the choice his family wanted. Not the choice the crowd was expecting. But the choice a man of service makes when the weight of his community is sitting heavier on his shoulders than any game show prize. $56,000 for the ministry, for the youth programs, for the kids who call him the Ghetto Rev and look up to him every single day. This wasn't about winning or losing anymore. This was about stewardship, how he played the what-if game, and the results were illuminating. If William had listened to his family and said no deal, his next case would have been number 2 Stacy's case, which held just $5. $5. The banker's next offer would have jumped to $85,000. That's a significant bump from $56,000, and William's family would have felt vindicated. But the what-if kept going.
It was either $75,000 or $200,000. $200,000.
So here's the question. Would you have taken the $99,000 when the board was perfect? Or would you have pushed like William did, chasing the $2 million? And when it came down to $56,000 versus your family's advice, would you have listened to them or followed your own heart? Drop your answer in the comments. See you in the next one.